Hello and welcome to a special episode of In PS We Trust, a PlayStation podcast. My name's Davey, and joined with me, as always, is the fine wine himself, Mr. Philip Hoy.
Guess who's back? Back again. Guys, it feels like we've only just come off talking on a podcast, and now we're back here again? What's happened?
We're just too good to the audience, mate. And so when the time strikes, we're like Batman. We see the bat signal come on, the PlayStation symbol lights up the sky, and we have to answer the call. And of course, my Robin, my boy wonder, Spencer Davis.
Yes, it is I, the best in the world at Call of Duty. How are we doing?
Good old Dick over there, Dick Grayson. How are you doing, my mate? You good? You all right?
I'm great, mate, yeah. I've been playing Call of Duty lately. I'm on a massive hot streak, so I'm in a fantastic mood, and I'm the best I've ever been. I think I'm the best in the world. Covering my mic, because people in my house won't shut the fuck up. So hopefully you can just hear me.
Well, it's certainly something. I mean, the thing about this, if this is your first time tuning in, Spencer's dad just has a habit of just piping up whenever we hit the record button. So if you start hearing stuff from the background, that's what it is. There's probably a domestic happening, or if not, maybe he's roofing. And not roofies, but he's just putting a new roof on. Although, I don't know what kind of social drugs your dad gets up to. Anyway, moving on. This episode, we have got a stack of stuff to go through because it is a special episode and it is dedicated to the PlayStation Showcase that happened only a few short days ago. Now, we are recording this 2 days after the conference. We're recording this on Friday the 26th. You will have this in your ear holes as soon as it goes up on the normal Wednesday timeline if Spencer's done his job properly. We've got so much to go through here. So if this is your first time joining into the show, then the way that we do conferences, so that we don't spend hours and hours talking through every single game and kind of bore you to death, the way we organize it is by keeping it into a simple format. A shag, a marry, and a kill. So you got a game that you take home for a one-night stand, a game that you walk down the aisle with and spend happily ever after with, and a game that you take out the back and shoot like old Yeller. And that's the way that we do it. But before we get into any of that, let's first off start off with how we thought the conference went. Let's try and keep this top level if we can, guys, because we got a long old road ahead of us. Now, to kick this off, Mr. Hoy, I'm going to come across to you. You initially ranked the original showcase as a 10 in terms of your excitement going into it. Coming out on the other side, give me your thoughts.
Well, Davey, I'm glad you asked, because you're right. I went into the conference all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, screaming, tens, tens, tens. We're going to get everything that everyone wants at this conference. PlayStation's the gods. They're going to bring down and bless us with game after game after game. And for me, the games I wanted to see at the conference, they showed up. So coming out of it, I'm still a 10. I'm still overly hyped with what went on in that conference. Of course, there was a lot of meh in there, but ultimately, there was two strong IPs that, for me, brought it right up to a 10 out of 10.
Wow, 10 out of 10 is pretty strong. What about yourself, Spence? Where do you fall down on this one?
Well, originally, on the last episode, I said a 9. And then during our stream we did of the showcase, I changed my mind and I said, it's nothing, I've not been able to think about anything else all day. So it went up to a 10. And then coming out of it, I think it flowed really well. They showed great stuff. Didn't show everything I wanted, but they showed us a lot. I would give it an 8 out of 10. I think it was still very strong, but a 10 is a perfect showing. And I wouldn't call this perfect. I thought it was great, but not perfect.
Okay. Now, for me, I went into it on the same hype level as both of you guys. Came into it with strong 10 out of 10, thinking, yeah, this is going to be it. They're going to announce everything. My life's going to fundamentally change. It's going to come round and nosh me off every other Wednesday. Exactly what you want, right? Coming out the other side of it, I'm giving it a straight 9. A straight 9. And the reason for that is because we just had like you said, Phil, a number of IP that speak directly to my soul. And so with that, even if everything else was gash, which I don't think it was, coming away from it with a really strong showing for things that are specifically to me. Now, it's fair to say that we are the outliers on this, or it seems to be that we're the outliers. The vocal minority is certainly shouting up a stink right now, and of course we'll come on to kind of the internet backlash and everything else later in the show. But first, Phil, you got some stats for us, don't you?
I have. So I've been browsing the internet doing a little bit of research for the show, and I came across a Twitter account which you should all now go and follow. It's called Zubytech. So Z-U-B-Y, like a ruby, _tech. And this guy, he puts out stats after stats after stats on video games. So he's going to be my source for the future when we need a stats check on anything that we're discussing. So here's some stats for the PlayStation Showcase from the 25th of May, 2023. So it was 1 hour and 14 minutes in duration. We had 35 titles announced. We had 4 PlayStation Studio titles with 11 exclusive titles. We had 3 unannounced games from the PlayStation Studios with 5 PlayStation VR games. There was 14 indies, and we had 800,000 people watching live on YouTube. Crazy numbers, and 5 million in total. So it was a big ass show, guys. A big ass show filled with games.
5 million's pretty damn strong, isn't it? 5 million people gave up their evening to watch that. That's wild. That's absolutely insane. I mean, we could only pray to the gods to get even a tenth of that kind of percentage. You know, to come in and watch us streaming live, putting in the graft, coming up with all the humorous takes, seeing my family wake up and think the house is burning alive because they announced some games that I really cared about. All these things we do for you, audience. So stats are really interesting, but what really matters is what we put up for this. Because before going into this showcase, we each put 3 predictions up. A safe, a possible, and a crazy. And each one that we get in, if it's a safe, it's worth 1 shot that can be dished out at any point. If you get your possible, it's worth 2 shots. And if you get your crazy, it's worth a grand total of 3 shots. So big prizes for whoever comes in right with this. Guys, I want to hear your predictions. Let's get a reminder of how we actually did. Spence, I'm going to come across to you first.
Knew you'd come across to me first, and there's a reason for it, because I got diddly fuck, boys. I got nothing. My safe, which was Silent Hill 2, which I thought we saw that a little while ago, and it looked like they'd have something to show very soon. We saw a cinematic trailer, maybe him walking. There was maybe gameplay, but it was mostly cinematic, I think. I thought maybe we'd see something. No, not there. As for my possible, because of in 2021, the last showcase we had, Insomniac came out with a double whammy and had Spider-Man 2 Into the Wolverine. I thought they're going to do it again. We're going to see Wolverine. Put it on there.
Wild.
Didn't show it. Diddly fuck. And then we knew they were going to show some PSVR 2 games. So I thought, oh, Astros. Ooh, they're bringing that out. And we thought that was quite safe as well. So we said it needs to be day and date for it to be a crazy. Didn't even show it at all. Not a mention. Not there at all. I'm fuming, boys. Absolutely livid. I was watching this, and as time went on, I was just like, one of them, please. I watched it like, surely just one of my games. Nothing. Absolutely. It's a sad day. It's a sad day.
What's wild is you've got probably the best track record on this entire podcast. You seem to come in with absolute blinders that we're all saying, and there's moments that's happened, like this happened at least twice, where I've been vehemently saying there's no way, there's no chance that happening, Spence, and then lo and behold, it comes in, and I've got to eat some humble pie and generally a couple of shots. So I was quite relieved that they didn't come in, but also gutted, because I really could have done with an Astros VR game. But it's what it is. What about yourself, Mr. Hoy? Did you fare any better?
Well, you'll have to tell me. I'll go through my safe, possible, and crazy, because I feel like I got one, but it'll all depend on how lenient you guys are going to be with me.
Okay. All
And
right,
just
lay on.
remember, I won the last big quiz, so I've got 5 to hand out. So I'm hoping you guys are going to be on my side. Okay. So for my safe, I predicted, and it was the obvious prediction. I took that low hanging fruit, and I went for Spider-Man 2 gameplay, and I went for a date. We saw some gameplay, and we saw a date of sorts. We saw fall, which in my mind is between the 23rd of September and the 22nd of December, but it's probably going to be September. So that's a date, right? That's a date.
I think if you ask someone, oh, what date are we meeting up? And they say fall, I think you'd be like, what?
Well, they probably had to do that before the invention of clocks because they had to go by the seasons. No?
Well, the thing is,
I think it was a date.
not to foreshadow my own, but if we do allow this, you're only coming off worse from this entire ordeal. So it's up to you. You're setting the precedent right now because my safe is very much in the same boat as you. So
Your
if
safe
yours
is
goes-
worse. Your safe's worse because yours was just a year.
Still a date.
No, it's not.
If we're going off Phil's logic, it's still a date.
Well, you're one worse than me, aren't you? Because I predicted a season, so that's one later, isn't it? Like the year.
You didn't predict the season. You said a full date.
Well, it came up as the season, right? I said date.
You said
Exactly, that's different.
I know exactly what you said. You said I listened to the episode before we recorded today, and I was pressing you.
scumbag.
I was pressing you, and you were saying, oh, they'll show just a trailer with gameplay. I was like, any date? And you were like, what? Do I have to give a date? I was like, yes, you do, because it's obviously going to be there. And he said, oh, yeah, okay, full date. And then I said, any guesses on the date?
Full.
And then
Full
he said,
date.
any guesses on the date? And then we had a big discussion around when we potentially
Yeah,
could.
and
be
I said
seeing
late September. I remember that. Late September,
You
I
did?
said.
You did?
So,
But yeah, it
which I was
full
right,
date.
because late September is fall.
Spence is
Anyway,
Spence is the judge on this, but we'll
I'm
get
fairly
to it when
certain
we
we
get to it.
also stated that our guesses on the dates weren't actually part of the thing.
No,
we just did
they
it as
weren't.
a bonus.
They weren't, but we did. It was mentioned date, which I'd assume would
Let's-
be a full date.
Let's carry on with your predictions, Phil. Then we'll go on to Davies, and then
Okay.
seeing as they're both the same kind of thing, we'll have a ruling after the fact.
Okay,
sounds fair. Sounds
Deal.
very fair.
deal.
Thanks, Spence.
I'm gonna
You've always
suck-
been my favourite on the show.
Spence, I've always respected you as a person, and I feel that you go very much. You're an
This is the
unsung.
first I've heard this.
You're an
It's not what he's
unsung-
been texting me, Spence.
You're an unsung hero, Spence, on the podcast. You really are, and I feel like without you and what you do, you're the king of the podcast as far as I'm concerned. The people's vote, the people's champ. I never forget these things, so just putting that out there.
So my possible.
Yeah, go on.
I thought we might see some information about the Last of Us factions. And we had a little bit more of an argument about the minutiae of my prediction because I said a teaser trailer. So there was more discussion about what a teaser trailer was compared to actually the discussion about the Last of Us factions, which probably we should have talked about because it wasn't at the show. Wasn't mentioned at all.
No.
So that one's straight out of the bag. I'm not trying to claim that one. And then for my crazy, I was going, Potato Chief, Lewis, X marks the box kind of crazy on this one. I thought we were going to see a Spider-Man PSVR 2 in the same vein that we got a Horizon VR game along with the latest addition or add-on to Horizon. That's what I thought we were going to see.
It
And neither of those were right.
Yeah, it certainly would have been hype if it
been
had
sick.
happened. Yeah, it would have been great. But sadly not there.
The problem was with that one was that they ended the show with Spider-Man, didn't they? They couldn't end the show on a PSVR title, could they? it would have been a slight downgrade, wouldn't it? It would have been like, here's all this amazing Spider-Man stuff, which hopefully we'll discuss later on if it turns up in someone's Shag, Marry or Kill. And then to go to a PSVR title, I feel like if it was first and then it kind of came up in the center to keep your hype going, it probably would have worked a lot better. But as it came last, as soon as it came out, I thought, we're not seeing the PS5 VR2 trailer here.
They could have done what Capcom did at the last State of Play, when they showed our first actual look at the game that can't be mentioned for, where afterwards it just said VR in development, which, that'd have been fine. But
after it said the date, it could have said VR game in development. You're right.
But there we are. That'd have counted as well.
Yeah, that definitely would have counted, 100%. But
we can't have everything. I just got the one, didn't I?
We'll find out in a minute. Well, for mine, guys, I came in, I got to say, depending on Spencer's ruling here, I've had a good old time. A good old time of this. And I did get, I suppose I was middle rank, so I wasn't actually fully tucked up like I will be today. But I started off with a safe, which was Helldivers 2 shown with date. I said it had to include gameplay, and that was my safe. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. We went from not having it announced at all to announcement out this year, which means it's releasing anytime from the 27th of May until the 31st of December, 2023. Anytime in that window, you will see Helldivers 2. Classic date. Classic date, that.
If it released tomorrow, that'd be wild. Hello?
It could be stealth drop.
They'd never stealth drop that game.
That was my safe. My possible was I went for Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake to be shown. I said it'd be an announcement trailer. And it was.
So not a teaser trailer? Because I felt like that was a teaser trailer.
Well, I said it was going to be an announcement. You guys pushed me on it a little bit. And I said what would be shown. And then we started speculating on what could potentially be there. And we went just off the rails. And then we started talking about MGS1 Remake. Which sadly did not happen. But, if only the dream. So, yeah, MGS3 Remake shown. That was the main point of it. And the final one, my crazy, which will be my crazy until the day I die, or until Insomniac get off their arse, stop blueballing me, and just give me hope. And that is Resistance to return in any form. And sadly, guys, we go another conference, another 2 years later, and still no news on Resistance or the Chimera or anyone related or anything tangentially related to Resistance. So I've got 2 out of the 3.
Can I just say how actually crazy Resistance is as well? Because you have to think, right? Insomniac have done Miles Morales launch title, Spider-Man Remastered, Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine on the way, and you think they have time to do a Resistance as well. They're churning out games and fantastic games as well. And you're like, oh, stop doing that. What are you on about?
do you know how long it's been since Resistance 3 came out? It came out
for good reason.
Came out in 2011. I've been waiting 12 years for this. 12 years and still nothing. And they keep tweeting it every other day. It's wild. It makes no goddamn sense, bro.
They're just busy, mate. They're busy making 10 out of 10 games. You want them to go make no chance.
The way I
mean, it didn't have to be Insomniac, did it? That released it. It could have been a remake by another studio. And I'm sure that would have still counted. You said in any form.
Yeah.
Oh, according to Davey, it could have just been brought up in a sentence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Or like a little sizzle reel. So as long as a Chimera or someone popped up, or they just said, someone mentioned tangentially, it's like that old game Resistance. Boom, we're back in the conversation, boys. That's a 3-shotter. But sadly not. They totally skated it. They totally avoided it. But you're right, if Bluepoint or someone had come out and said, yep, this is our next project, the Resistance Trilogy, by God. Well, nothing would be here. I wouldn't be able to record because the entire place would be a disaster zone. The nuke would have gone off. Everyone you know and love would be obliterated, but Resistance would be on the way. So it's a price I'm worth. It's a price that I'm willing to pay.
I can think of worse ways to die, though.
Yeah, we certainly covered that in the last episode. There's worse ways than nuclear explosion. That's for damn sure.
Worse than that.
Yes.
Definitely worse than that.
Oh god, yeah. So, what's the ruling on this, Spence? On this whole date debate? Where are we coming down with it?
I want to hear your arguments first,
Okay.
and then I'll counter argue.
Okay. Who do you wanna put their case forward first?
Davey, you, because yours is like so thin, mate. It's
Okay.
it's the loosest connection ever.
Okay. So, Your Honor, Spence, the reason why I feel this fits the billing here, especially compared to someone like Philip Hoy, is that Helldivers 2, we did
Whoa!
have...
Objection! Your Honour?
Sustained.
Okay. So
Have it stricken from the record.
The reason why I feel that it's better than some of the other predictions that have come up for a safe is that it wasn't known. Sure, we'd had a potential trailer leaked, but we didn't know. We've had loads of fake rumors. We've had loads of fake things. This was back in October of last year. So to go
We
a
watched
full,
the trailer.
so to go a full like 8 months later, and then to put that up as a safe prediction is quite a risky prediction. And then when being pushed, I had to put a date on it. It wasn't my first choice, and I never specified what date meant, Your Honor. So I certainly didn't say release window. I certainly didn't say that we'd get a month. I just said a date. And Your Honor, if 2023 is not a date, I don't know how we calculate a year. I rest my case.
Okay. Motion denied. Phil, over to you.
That was a quick ruling. I like this type of judge. Right, here we go. So in my prediction, I speculated and I got pushed into saying that we were going to see a date. I didn't want to. I just wanted to say we were going to see Spider-Man 2 gameplay. And that's what we saw. And we saw it in abundance. We saw a lot of gameplay, right? It gave away quite a lot of what was happening in that part of the game. But we did see a date. And they said it's coming in fall. And as we all know, as I mentioned earlier, fall is between the 23rd of September and the 22nd of December. And when I got pushed for the exact date, and I know that wasn't part of the prediction, but now I'm making it part of the prediction, I said it was going to be the last week of September. So I was right.
Your Honor, if I may interject.
No.
He's purely going for a season here. What's the difference between that and then an extra 3 seasons on top, which is what my prediction is? If one, it's apples to apples as far as I'm concerned. It wasn't a full date shown, so I feel like this should.
I would like to use. I would like to use Davey's argument against him. I was 4 times more. Well, I was 4 times more accurate than him. If
My
that's how
final
math
ruling
works, I'm not
was-
sure, but sure, I was more accurate than Davey.
You were more accurate than Davey. However, Oxford Dictionary defines date as the day of the month or year, so the day of the month or the year, as specified by a number. Fall isn't a number, and
20.
neither of them had a day.
Oh. So we strike them from.
Motion denied.
Oh,
Ouch.
Jesus, he's a tough judge. He's a tough judge.
Well,
This
that's the
Spencer.
way the cookie crumbles.
So it means out of this, the only one to come away with anything is myself, where I get 2 shots to give out to whoever I choose. I have a tiny slither of Mr. Philip Hoy's power from winning episode 60. A tiny little taste. I'm going to be drunk on it.
It's
I
too much
can't
for you, mate.
wait.
It's way too much.
The weight of it is already getting to me. I can feel the pressure. Someone's going to get stung in episode 70. That's for damn sure. But guys, moving away from that. So I suppose the good thing about it is, right, we're consistent. We're consistently wrong with our predictions. And that's one thing to take solace in. So by the time we get to the next showcase or the next state of play, whatever it is, whatever we're saying, you could bet your ass that 1 out of 9 of those may come in, the rest of them in the bin. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So, moving away from that, let's bring on to the main meat of this. The Shag, marry, kills. So the way this works is we're going to do this in a rotation basis. So we're going to come to the oldest first, the most wisest of us all, in Mr. Philippoy. Then I come across to the beauty in myself, and then we just go to the run to the pack last for Spence. And that's the way we're going to do it, guys.
Robin earlier. What's happened? Yeah.
Well, you ruled
Dick Grayson.
You ruled against me, mate. I'd never forget, even I'm like an elephant. I'll remember this till the day I die. So, Phil, let's come across to yourself. What is your Shag?
Well, Davey, the lovely lady that I found at the back of a dirty club, and I've managed to persuade her to come home with me for a bit of lover, is Cat Quest Pirates in Caribbean. I believe that's how you say it. I'm sure it's like Caribbean, but Caribbean. And that is my Shag for the night. So I'm taking a cat home, and I am getting freaky and going on a quest with a cat.
You're getting that pussy. I respect it. So why is it you've gone for this little game? Out of all the games that are shown that could potentially go into a Shag list, what is it about Cats of the Caribbean that has just caught your eye?
Well, you could tell my excitement when it started, when we were in the show, when we were doing our reactions. This was the one that lit up my little eyes, and I thought, this is a perfect game to play. A perfect game to play on my Steam Deck. And at the end of that lovely trailer that we saw, a little bit of intro, and it was narrated by Matt Berry, who's on the IT Crowd, Toaster London, and my particular favourite, Snuffbox. Absolutely love him. It said, come into PlayStation. And I thought, in the bin, dead symbol. I'm probably not going to get to play it, right? I'm probably not going to have the time. But I did a little bit of research for the show, as I said, and this is the third instalment of the million-selling Cat Quest series. And there's more of them. There's 2 other games, okay? And these RPGs have been going a little while, and they are multi-platform. So I am going to get to play them on Steam. It's coming in 2024. That's a date for you. That's as close as I can get. And I'm going to get to play it on Steam Deck. So I'm really, really excited about this one.
Fair dues. I mean, I've got to say, it did look cute as hell. And the art style was great. I've got a personal affinity for cats. I got 2 myself. So any chance you could play as 2 of my favourite things, pirates and cats, molded into one, like a perfect fusion. Even though, and I said this on the live stream, a cat being on a boat probably isn't its ideal territory. You know, if that shit goes down, cats aren't going to be very happy. They'll be hanging on for dear life, and they'll get dragged to the bottom of the briny depths. I don't think they'd make great sailors.
Do humans make great sailors? Because if a boat sinks, we tend to die as well. What happened with the Titanic?
You might. I'd survive. I'd be able to swim away.
Yeah, you'd survive.
Yeah.
Well, you're going on a cruise soon, aren't you? So we'll have to put this to the test.
I've prepped my entire life for this moment, yeah. Whereas someone like Spence, where he hasn't learned to swim, sailor, I don't imagine that's a vocation for you, Spence.
I'd die getting on the boat, mate. It's no chance. There's literally not a world where I get anywhere near a boat. Well, I've been on a boat, mind, and I've been in the ocean. With I can swim if I have flippers on, I found out.
Oh.
But not if I don't.
That's wild. Okay. That's really weird.
Like the Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
It's like I can
Because she can't swim with legs, can she?
True. I can swim if I'm moving, but I can't tread water. That's what happens, so I can't stay still. Whereas with the flippers, they got enough push on the water that I could.
Wow.
And that's all it was.
Well, we've heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. So scuba diving you could probably do.
Yeah, I fucking wouldn't though. Sod that off, mate. Nothing to do. I hate water, bro. Not a chance.
Anyway, just coming back to Cat Quest, Davey, I've got one more fact for you.
Go on.
And this might interest you. You can play this game single player or in multiplayer mode. So there's a way to join me on my Cat Quest if you did buy the game. I would love it to be cross-platform because I could be on my Steam Deck, you could be on your PlayStation, and we could adventure out into the Caribbean together.
Well, speaking of co-op, do you know if it's got any local co-op at all?
I believe so. I believe it's got local co-op, or the previous games had. So hopefully they include this now in the third installment of this game, because it'd be great to sort of, as I said, venture out with you one day, and we'll do a cat quest together.
I'm well down for that. The thing I was thinking of is more my son. I was thinking, right, well, we don't get too many cute little games.
First Spencer replaces me, now your son. That's not fair. I've fallen down the pecking order when it comes to video games. I used to be your first choice boy.
He likes him young, mate. That's what it is.
Third now.
Jesus.
I'm too old for Davey.
You're too old.
You've grown out of what I like. I'm like Rolf Harris. Except not a nonce.
Wow. Wow, that's a reference. I thought you were going to go Philip Schofield, because that would be right on brand at the moment.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Oh, Christ, yeah. No, I'm just thinking, we don't get too many like family-centric games. And it's certainly one that the art style's really appealing. I think kids will really enjoy it. And it's something that if it is local co-op, at least then it gives me an option that I can play with Cass in the day. And then when he goes to bed, bring on Philip Hoy. And you and me can go off for the real men adventures. You know, we can really go off and carve our name into the pantheon of cat heroes across the Caribbean.
We'll do some endgame shit together.
Yeah, fuck them up. Fuck up.
Yeah. Fuck up whatever you kill. Maybe dogs, probably. That's the arch enemy of cats, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I've been brought up to know that from Tom and Jerry and things like that, right? There's always a dog chasing.
They hate squirrels for some reason. I don't know why.
Really?
Oh, yeah, really hate squirrels. They go nuts for squirrels. Don't know what
Where
it
does
is.
this fact come from?
Just
from owning a cat?
Yeah, just what I've noticed in my own life. Yeah, there's a load of squirrels knocking about my place.
You've been pitting your cat against other animals.
I got to find out what she's
told
deadliest.
me you had a bat. You told me you had a bat once invade your house, and you were telling me the cat was going crazy then. So it didn't fare well against the bat, but you pit it against a squirrel instead.
It's a rodent, isn't it? So I thought, right, a rodent definitely going to get sourced by a cat, but they're fast squirrels, aren't they? No chance you're going to catch one. Whereas you could probably catch a cat, you know, if you ran fast enough. But yeah, we've had a myriad of different creatures come into the house. So I had a racing pigeon smack into the front door once, and it was just sat outside my front door, and we had to hide them in the bathroom. So all these creatures, they end up in the bathroom where the cats can't get them, and they just pour in at the door to get in until we can then find a way for it to get it out. And yeah, squirrel hasn't got in the house though yet, and I think that's because the cats won't let it. That's my theory. That's my theory. But moving away from that, let's get over to my shag. So my shag, guys, I got 3 different choices here, and it's a hard one. It's a really difficult one because any of these 3 could go here, and I don't want to do any of them dirty either. But the game I'm going to put up here is the Plucky Squire. The Plucky Squire is a game very much like Cat Quest that we were just talking about. It's a game where it's got a very cute animation style. It pops in between 2D and 3D environments, depending if you're on the page or if you're off the page. And to me, it looked like an absolute joy. And it looked like one of those games that I can sit down with Cassie and my son, and we could just play. And we can earn the Platinum Trophy, and we can just have a great time with it in co-op, or either taking turns like we do on Astrobot. And it's one of those things that he's become a proper Nintendo kid, because all the games for him are on that platform. And so it's not until you have children that then you start to realize that there actually just is no content for them on this console, like whatsoever. There's like nothing for them, like the age of like 5, like my son is. Unless you want to play like a shit Paw Patrol game, which is absolutely garbage. And so it looks like a game that I could just sit down with him and we could have some fun. And I thought it was just a really unique little game. Do you guys have any thoughts on the Plucky Squire at all?
I thought, I did initially, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this looks amazing. Because it's set in the book. It's like you're turning the page as such, and you can see kind of like the crease down the middle in the world as well, where it's the middle of the book. It looks really cool. The second it turned 3D and they left the book, I hated it.
Oh.
I thought it looked like a guaranteed buy. Thought it'd be cute as hell. Thought I'd love it. Didn't like it the second it went 3D. If it was all based in the book, 2D little side scroller, beat 'em up, night game, great. I would have adored it. But because it changed, it just threw me off. Didn't want it. And I'm
wow.
not interested at all now.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. I thought the 3D art style was really appealing, but I get what you mean. It's certainly not as unique as its 2D counterpart when it was in that page. What about yourself, Mr. Hoy? Did you have any thoughts on the Plucky Squire?
I'm on board with this game. I was wowed by it. Again, much like Cat Quest, it appealed to my inner child, if you like. But while I was watching it, I remember on the stream that I remarked, is this like a Little Big Planet kind of media molecule type of game? Because there's a lot of creativity flowing through the veins of this type of game. When you're talking about going from real life or 3D to 2D, I think there's a lot that you could do there within a video game, and it could be quite creative, as I said. So yeah, I'd be really looking forward to maybe trying that, maybe for a few hours. If we got a demo, if we got to try that game to see how it worked. But what I fear with this game is that I don't always want the same over and over again. They're going to have to keep coming up with fresh ideas depending on how you level or progress through the game. It can't always just be that idea that you're moving from 3D to 2D. But maybe it is. Who knows? We didn't get to see much more than that sort of snippet of the game, but definitely one to keep an eye on.
It certainly is. So what about yourself, Spence? What are you going for with your Shag?
Right, well, I've got options. There's three things I've put up. And I think I know which one I'm going to go for, but I do have choice.
Okay.
But one of them is better than the other two, so I know which one I'm picking.
Which one's the one that's going to really fuck you up? That's the one you want. You know, if you got three birds,
Trust me.
One's better than the other, but the other one's like a crab woman that's going to fucking rock your world. Give you that toe curler. You know what you
Go
gotta
for the
do
dirty bird, mate.
Yeah, go for the fucking slay.
Don't worry about what you're going to catch. Just, double up on the dommies and you'll be fine.
That's a worry for another day, innit? The gum clinic's the next day problem, not the night problem.
True.
Enjoy
Just don't
yourself.
kiss her.
Yes. Yeah,
You kiss your mum with those lips.
that's the way to cure it, yeah, for sure. Just don't kiss. The mandibles.
Just do the dirty and don't kiss. Come on.
Right, so my Shag, out of the three options, there's one that is just a clear-cut winner. And for me, that is Alan Wake 2.
Ooh.
That game looks absolutely amazing. It was beautiful. It was extremely dark, which is perfect for that game because all you really have is a flashlight. There are points where you have a gun and stuff and you can shoot them, but the flashlight is your main key to survive in that game. So the world has to be dark. And from what they showed, it was pitch black. It was terrifying. It was beautiful. Every single thing I saw about it, I was like, oh, baby, put that in my game. It's the game. What I'm going to do with it, I already know. I'm going to play it in the PSVR 2 cinema mode. And it's going to scare the living shit out of me. And I'm desperate for it. I think it's going to be
Extra
great.
scary mode then.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All mega keen. She's going to fuck me up.
She is going to fuck you up. The first Alan Wake is a game which I bought on release. And I bought on release when it came to PS4 as part of the remastered collection. Whenever it was that it came out. I've got it on the shelf, still in cellophane. I haven't unwrapped it, still there, and I'm desperate to play it before number 2 comes out. But seeing what we saw of that trailer, like you said, fidelity-wise, it looked impeccable. And the atmosphere that was being shown across the different environments, playing as both Alan Wake and the detective, the lady cop, I can't remember her name now, both they looked amazing. It looked so, so good. And Remedy, there's one thing that I learned from Control about them, is that their artistic design is impeccable. And so those environments, those worlds that you're kind of traversing through are going to be so unique, unlike anything else we've ever seen. So I'm super keen for this. Definitely a day one-er. Comes out on the 25th of October, I think. Or it's around there. We might want to fact check that. That might be Alone in the Dark that I'm thinking of. Definitely in October.
17th.
17th.
17th of October.
Must be Alone in the Dark's the 25th then. So you're coming out like, Christ, what a 2 weeks that is. What a survival horror binge. Going from one to the other. Wowee. What a time. What a time to be alive, mind. And be in the survival horror renaissance. Great time for us, lads. Yeah, definitely down for this day one for me, for sure.
Yeah, I think it looks amazing. Phil, mate, what are your thoughts? Any on this?
Well, I like the look of this one. So I hope you like sharing, because we're going to have to go twos up on this bitch. Alan Wake 2. My God, I've been hungering like a fearsome zombie hiding in the woods, ready to jump out on you for some horror, some survival horror, some true survival horror. After playing that game that cannot be mentioned 4 remake, it wasn't scary. I've been looking for that. I've been playing the Callisto Protocol lately, and I'm getting a hint of it. Now, this might be my next step, and to get a true scary game, because you're right, the lighting in that game and the effects that were going on, and kind of like the almost supernatural aspects that were going on when he was behind the typewriter, and they were saying things were happening because he was writing it down, and it's all coming true, it's all coming true. Yeah, incredible. I'm in, but much like Davey, I really need to play the first one before we get to the second one. Yeah, and I've got a lot of games to play. So who knows when I'm going to play it?
Yeah.
Well, if things go to plan, I'll get it done. I can chuck it over to you. Hopefully it's not too long of an experience, and then maybe we can all enjoy it at the same time. We can all dive into Alan Wake and pull ourselves away from Street Fighter, Diablo, everything else that comes out that year.
That's a big ask, mate.
It is a big ask.
Etc.
It's a big ask, especially because I've played Alan Wake, but I never finished it, and I bought the remaster, PS5. Mine is also still wrapped,
Wow.
untouched. So
No way.
yeah, it's just close to October. We'll play it.
Did you both buy it from Amazon when it was like mega cheap?
I
I think
did.
it was like before Christmas or something, and it was like 12 quid or something.
It was
and
12
I
quid,
regretted
yeah.
not buying it.
Yeah, I paid £12 for it off Amazon.
at
I was in the
memory.
car, I
Yeah,
remember,
memory.
with Davey, and I saw it, and I went, "What a bargain!" I just bought it.
No, I didn't. I pre-ordered it, and I bought it thinking, yeah, definitely going to cover this on the channel, something I'm going to really enjoy playing, and then just have not done it. You know, I just went on to covering the Dead Space series, and that's kind of taken my life up. So no, it's a game I bought ready and raring to go day one, and then life just gets in the way. Then the other games come out, other big things we got to cover on the show, and it's a victim of that. But definitely will play it before number 2, 100%. 100%. So that rounds out our shags. Our ladies have been put through the wall. We've dusted ourselves off. We've gone down the gum clinic. Everything's got the green light. We're good to go on to the next bird. And this next bird is the one. Well, she's a keeper. She's the one you take home to your mother, that you show around the house, that you bring into the family home. Who are you having for your Mary? Phil, over to you.
Well, Davey, I'm glad that you've asked me first, because I felt a little bit threatened that Spencer was going to take my wife away from me because he's got it tattooed on his arm. That's how much of a fan he is. And he let me. I'm going to sleep with her, Spence. She might be thinking of you, but she's married to me. I am going to marry Spider-Man 2.
Woo!
Okay, so I'm going to bring you back, right, and tell you some facts about what we know about this game. It's a PS5 exclusive. And as we know, it's out in the fall, which is autumn for us in the UK, 2023. So that's the 23rd of September to the 22nd of December, as I've mentioned a couple of times. So it's a date in fall we're going to get to play the game. And we're going to get to play as both Spider-Man and Miles Morales. It's a single-player game, and it won't be co-op, okay? There's going to be character switching between Peter and Miles. And Peter, he's gone and got the black suit, hasn't he? Venom. We're getting the Venom symbiote. Oh my God. I cannot wait. And it's going to be set in the Manhattan Island, and we're going to get to venture into Queens as well. We're going to see Kraven the Hunter and the lizard, Doc Connors himself, pop up. I am hyped. I cannot wait. The trailer that we saw with the CG at the start and the gameplay, there must have been about 10 minutes of it. I'm not sure on the runtime that we saw for it, but we got a big chunk of Spider-Man 2. And I was eating good. And that's what made this show a 10 out of 10 for me, because my jaw was down on the floor and my eyes boogling out because, oh my God, I cannot wait for this game. This is my number one game at the moment that I'm looking forward to. Cannot wait for Spider-Man 2.
Wow. And I gotta say, I totally echo those thoughts. It was a game that I went into it with high expectations, obviously, as you would. You know, we all loved Spider-Man PS4, and we all adored Miles as well. So going into it, it had a high bar to be able to reach to wow, because you kind of expect it. You expect it to be great. So how do you kind of eclipse that? And to have a 10-minute, 26-second trailer for this was just absolutely wild. And to see everything, to see how the different kind of mechanics in the different ways the characters play, their different abilities that they have, but to separate between Peter and Miles with the gadgets, Miles's powers, and the symbiote itself with Peter was excellent. Absolutely excellent. And the thing that I loved, and I've been thinking about this, it's been playing on my mind ever since I saw that initial reveal trailer or that initial gameplay trailer, is Yuri, the voice actor for Spider-Man. He's doing what I loved about the 90s comic version, the 90s animated show version of the symbiote, in that his voice is just a little bit raspier, way more aggressive. I just love it.
He's getting quite reckless, isn't he, Peter?
Oh, and all I want now, we've seen when it showed that footage, right, where it showed Kraven was looking at New York and all the people that were there, Black Cat, Tombstone, all these, showed Shocker. All I want is...
We're going to the bell tower, aren't we?
I want the bell tower, and I want it to be, Shocker! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth! I just want that so bad in this game, you have no idea.
Well, I've got some follow-up questions about the predictions for this game, but I'll come over to Spence just to get his kind of initial feedback, and then we'll loop back round to my questions, because I want to talk about the Spider-Man bad guys that maybe we'll see, and then also talk about how the last game's ended and where the story might go with this new iteration. But Spence, what did you think of the trailer that we saw?
Mate, immediately. Well, obviously it started, and as it started, we didn't know what it was. And then as we saw that fella in the forest, I was like, is that Kraven the Hunter?
We thought it was Predator.
Yeah.
Ending the show on Predator. Now, that would be wild.
It would have been wild. If someone had guessed that, that'd be insane. That'd be 5 shots. But yeah, I thought, surely it has to be Kraven the Hunter. But then I also thought, his design looks a bit pants. And then right behind him was actual Kraven the Hunter. And it was like, oh, he looks good. And it was just sick. And then, like you said, Davey, showing all those characters on that tablet, saying you need a new hunting ground. Of course, mate. It's sick. And then it just plays into everything. There was a bit of dialogue where Peter, whilst he's swinging, he's talking to Miles, something about Norman's dying. And they need something to revive him or that.
Harry.
I watched trailer again. Oh, Harry, yeah. No.
Harry.
Yeah. Harry Osborn, my bad. And just, it seems like the story's going to go far. Seems like it's going to be a lot. I mean, we got Venom, we got Kraven, we got all this story with Harry happening, we got hopefully the Shocker, like you said, Tombstone, all them lot, Black Cat all coming in. It's just going to be a wild ride. And Miles and Peter they conflict with Venom. This game feels like it's going to be like 25 hours long or something from everything we've seen. And I really hope it is, especially because my first thing I said in the past was I'm concerned how they're going to do Peter, because he doesn't have the electric powers like Miles. And the trailer opens with him busting out of that garage or that basement, and he's got Venom powers, and they were sick. This game's going to be exceptional, mate. It's a fantastic marry. Fantastic choice.
So, as you mentioned, we did see a range of bad guys in the trailer. But let me just take a step back, because in Miles, I just want to go through the list of bad guys that we saw through the last previous games. And then maybe I'll come over to you guys and see what bad guys you think we might see in Spider-Man 2. So in Miles, we had Kingpin, we had Roxxon, we had the Rhino, the Prowler, and the Tinkerer. I'm not a big Miles guy. I'm not sure who else from that world could possibly show up in the game. But when it comes to Spider-Man, we had Mr. Negative, Kingpin again featured. We had Electro, Rhino, Scorpion, Shocker, Vulture, Doc Ock, and we had Norman Osborn right at the end. So there was a big rogues gallery there in the original Spider-Man. Who do you think now is going to show up within Spider-Man 2, guys? Who are we missing?
Well, this is my worry, really, is that I don't really want there to be too many. I really don't. Like, we've had the Sinister Six already. That's done. Sorted. Now, this is Spider-Man late into his career. So, the amount of people that he's already beaten up, put behind bars, thrown away the key for, is probably quite large. And outside of maybe having some little tiny kind of B-level villains that are knocking about in the back, like we saw Taskmaster in there, so maybe some more Taskmaster challenges, you're having a fight with him, stuff like that. I kind of don't want that. What I want, now that I know it's full Kraven, and this would be the ideal for me, would be that the story kind of more closely follow Kraven's Last Hunt, which are really, really, well, it's one of the seminal Spider-Man runs of all time. Came out in the late 80s, I think it was 87. And the story of it basically is, well, it's just Kratos really. Kratos. It's Kraven really beating Spider-Man and trying to be kind of a better hero. That's kind of the kind of twist for it. But the way I kind of want this to go is I want Kraven to be the main bad guy throughout the entire thing. And then for it to be right at the end that Venom gets introduced. I don't want him to be a focal point. I think it's too much to build on. I think it's too much in this game if you got all this. I think you could get a really great Kraven-centric story out of this game that ties into the future Kraven movie that's coming up as well. It's a great way to be able to really get this villain out there for the masses. And then you have a whole third game which is dedicated to Venom, because I feel he could be that. I don't want him to be like, come in the last 5 hours and then it's over, you know? I really want it to be like the way the 90s cartoon did it, where you built up with the black suit, you see it really messing with him for a couple of episodes, and then it comes off right at the end of the second episode. Everything seems fine, and it cuts over to Eddie Brock pumping big stacks of weight and planning his revenge for Spider-Man. You get 2 whole episodes of that. It was a great time. I personally don't want too much Venom in this. I want him to be kind of separated off, and for it to just be a more structured game around a central villain. That's just my personal take, though.
What about you, Spence? Who are you saying?
See, I got a different take, very different take. I understand, Davey, your point of view is just because you want to be able to use the black suit throughout the entire game. I know this. But I think, or what I'd like to see anyway, because I don't have too many predictions, I think we will actually see either Green Goblin or Hobgoblin. Especially if, like I said, Harry's dying and he needs something to make him healed and maybe strong. Maybe a bit too strong. Maybe it messes him up a little bit. Who knows? Could get Harry's version of the Goblin. Could get... We haven't seen Sandman yet. We haven't seen the big wheel, which we'll never actually see. But I'd love to.
Dear God.
Deep cut.
I'd love to see the big wheel. It'd be jokes. And the swinging sections chasing him through the... It'd be like Rhino at the start of Miles. But it's a big wheel. That'd be sick.
Yeah, that would be quite cool, to be fair.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. And then other than that, I don't know. I'd like a lot of characters, but I think Goblin and Sandman are kind of the big ones we could expect to see. But I kind of hope we don't see Sandman. I'd rather it just be Goblin, if anyone.
I have to agree with you, Spence, on that one. I believe the Goblin is going to be a big feature in this one. I think he's going to be almost a silent bad guy throughout all the promotion stuff, and it's saved for the game. I think Kraven is very much going to be your rocks-on, if you like, within Miles Morales, because he has a big crew, so you're always fighting kind of Kraven's men, and then he'll interject a bit like the Prowler did within Miles Morales throughout the game, so he'll be repeated throughout. But I think the big bad is going to be Norman Osborn, purely because the way the story of the games is going. So cast your mind back to the ending of Spider-Man. You know, we join Norman Osborn in his secret lab where we see his son in a test tube covered in the symbiote. And then at the end of Miles, Harry's walking up to the Venom symbiote and the tube and he says, "Get him out." It's got to happen. That's where the symbiote comes from, and it's all surrounding Norman Osborn. That's my prediction for Spider-Man 2.
I mean, with Norman, the only thing to remember is that he is Spider-Man's main antagonist. He's the Joker to Batman. You know, he's the main bad guy. So you wouldn't want him to be someone that just comes in at the last minute. Ha 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 ha, Spider-Man. You know, you want him to be fucking Green Goblin. You know, he's a big deal.
He's been there since the start of the games. So I think he's been pulling the strings all along. You'll find out, you'll get flashbacks about where he's sort of been involved throughout the previous games. And he's the big bad for this game. He'll be throughout the game. But as I said, I don't think it'll be in any of the promotional material. I think it'll be saved for the game.
Oh, that would be hype. And I mean, the thing about it is that Spider-Man's got such a good rogues gallery. Such a good rogues gallery. Probably only second to Batman's, which is just an incredible rogues gallery. Absolutely busted rogues gallery, to be fair. And yeah, I mean, so anyone they do put in will be super hype. Seeing the Goblin would be sick. I just hope that the Goblin, the way they do it, is the way it's done in, the traditional 616 universe rather than it being like the ultimate giant form goblin. I've never kind of got along with that. So I hope it is, more of just a guy in a suit with kind of Captain America-esque strength. I'd fuck with that. 100%. But yeah, great choice, Phil. Absolutely fantastic choice. I think it was all on the tip of our lips, tip of our tongue, and we just couldn't quite get there in time. So for myself, my Mary, I got a tough choice here. There's 3 different games that I could put up for this, but I've got to go with my balls. My balls are screaming only one thing. Metal Gear Solid Volume 1. That's right. I'm not going for MGS3. I'm going for the classics 1, 2, and 3 coming back to modern consoles. And the reason for that is simple. There is no way at the moment to be able to play Metal Gear Solid 1 on anything past the PS3. There's just no way to be able to do it. Add in the fact that this is going to have trophy support, and by God, baby, sign me the fuck up. August cannot come soon enough. I joked about this on the stream, but this is truth, guys. I am going to take fucking weeks off for this. I'm taking weeks off. I am getting this platinum, and I goddamn wish that this could have been my 100th platinum. I wish it could have been. What I might do is I might get 99% of the way, wait until I reach 150, and then get the platinum then. Something like that, because this game is going to take over my fucking life. It's already my favorite game of all time. So to see a new way to be able to play it, to have brand new challenges, new ways I never thought to be able to experience the game, thanks to trophies, sign me up. I'm going to wear that tux. I'm going to earn that tux in no time at all. And I'll be riding up in that lift, doing everything I want, because that game is goddamn perfection as far as I'm concerned. Let alone, it includes the HD remaster of 2 and 3, which came out onto the Vita and the PlayStation 3 quite a number of years ago. And we're on to a winner, boys, because those games are some of the best games in the entirety of gaming. Hell fucking yeah. Phil, you're a massive MGS fan, same as myself. What do you think of my choice for my Mary here?
I 100% agree. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Metal Gear Solid for me is a 10 out of 10 game, and there's a lot of 10 out of 10 throughout this show that we're throwing out, but Metal Gear Solid, the OG, is 10 out of 10 in my mind. It's a perfect game, as you've mentioned, and one of my happiest times on the podcast was going back and playing that through for a spoiler cast from the past, because it was just me and you wanking each other off over the best game ever. And listeners, viewers, make sure you go back and see that, because it was a beaut. But I am a little sad that you didn't pick the Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, or the Metal Gear Solid Delta, or the Metal Gear Solid Triangle, as people have dubbed it now on Twitter, because that trailer was very, very special. We only got 2 minutes, and I called it probably just over the minute mark, didn't I? And I said, this has got to be Metal Gear Solid, because there was a part in it, wasn't there? There was a crocodile, and I think that reference then caught me. So I did a little bit of digging, a little bit of research before this podcast. And turns out that trailer was jam-packed full of Easter eggs, right? I'm not the biggest Metal Gear Solid 3 fan. And some of these references I didn't initially know. So I did a bit of research and a bit of looking on Wikipedia. And what I actually found out, the parrot that was flying?
Yeah.
That's a reference to the End, one of the bad guys in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh,
he has a parrot on his shoulder. The crocodile, I was right. It's something you can eat in Metal Gear Solid 3. The dead poison dart frog, that's a reference to the Fear, because you can drop frogs and that lowers his stamina. So all through, they were dropping very subtle references about Metal Gear Solid 3. And not being the biggest fan of that game, I didn't pick up on those initially. But afterwards, I rewatched it And I was like, oh my God, they were doing it all along. They were playing Puppet Master to us all for those 2 minutes. And it was spectacular seeing Snake pop up at the end. But I just wish we had got to hear his voice. I really wanted to hear him speak. But we can't have everything.
Well, the good thing about it is that there's confirmation that the voice actors are the original cast, which is amazing. So David Hayter coming back to voice Snake. We don't have any of this other bollocks, this Kiefer Sutherland shit that we had in MGS5. We got the absolute boy, the OG coming back. And having the rest of the cast there as well, fantastic time. Can't wait to see more. And the only reason why it didn't make the list, and the only reason why MGS Collection Volume 1 has made it, because it's got MGS1 in it. I mean,
of course.
Come on. I mean,
it makes complete sense.
You know, what am I supposed to do? It's my favorite game of all time. It's coming back with trophy support, bro. Nothing's going to beat it. They could have shown literally anything in the world and nothing would have beaten that. Fly Mary. It would have been impossible to beat that. Is what it is. And I only have to wait till August. Damn good time. Now, Spence, you famously, and we've only mentioned this a handful of times ever since that infamous moment, you famously...
It's almost become a meme now.
It has. I'm thinking we could get t-shirts made where it's just MGS and then have a rating on it. Spence, you famously gave MGS a 6 out of 10, a mid score by our own standards. What do you feel about my Mary choice?
You're correct. I gave it a 6 out of 10. I did also state I think it's probably the best game on PS1, but I just think gaming's come such a long way that the 10 out of 10 experiences we get now are different to the ones we had back then. Rankings changed, the numbers have all changed. A 10 out of 10 back then is a 6 out of 10 now to me, and that's just the way it's gone.
Wow.
Obviously, I'm younger than you boys. I didn't get the nostalgia. I didn't play them originally. None of that. So the way
There's
it goes.
no nostalgia in Metal Gear Solid OG, mate. It's just a perfect game.
It's just great, bro. We were talking about Rose Galleries. Earlier with Spider-Man. MGS has got probably the best Rose Gallery of all fucking time. It's so good. So good, man. So good. But are you excited with the opportunity to be able to go in and play 2 and 3s, which are games that you haven't played up until this point?
Yeah, I was going to say, I do very much like your choice for Mary. It doesn't surprise me at all. It did surprise me until you started talking, and I thought, yeah, of course it was. But I know for a fact, I did really enjoy MGS1. I think it just took me a while to get grips with it. So I'm 100% going to pick this up myself because I need to play 2 and 3. And I'm quite desperate to do it as well because you guys don't shut up about them. So I'm going to 100% buy this day one and play all 3 of them because one of my best mates, Dan, as well, doesn't shut up about 3. It's his favorite game and immediately messaged me after the showcase saying, did you see the trailer? And I was like, mate, of course I did. I'm on a PlayStation podcast. Who are you talking to? Bloody hell. It's a great choice, great Mary, and it wouldn't be on my list, but I'm going to be playing it as well.
Well, I suppose it does open the door, Mr. Hoy, and you might appreciate this, that we may be able to go and do a spoiler cast from the past for Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yes, let's do it. We're going to do Half-Life really soon. We haven't forgot viewers. Viewers. It's going to happen. We're going to do Half-Life, but I think after that, we're going to have to go back to Metal Gear, aren't we?
Yeah, I reckon we just do them all. In a row. I'd love that so much, man. Any excuse to go back through them all. Sign me the fuck up. So down for that. Then we can do Death Stranding, Phil.
Perfect. Let's just do all of Kojima's games.
Let's do it.
Before we move on now, and I know we're going to get towards our avoids, our kills on this list, I have got a quick fact for you guys. So if you'll grant me a few seconds, I'm going to give you a quick fact about the naming conventions for Metal Gear Solid 3.
Go on.
So we have got Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, but it's got a delta symbol in it instead of the 3. Okay? So there's been lots of discussion online, and I've been doing my research, as I said. Now, delta is the 4th letter in the alphabet, or the Greek alphabet, excuse me. But this is the 3rd game, and it's the 5th overall Metal Gear Solid game, so it doesn't really make sense in that sense, does it? Roy Campbell is a former Delta Force and Foxhound member, but he doesn't even appear in Metal Gear Solid 3. So, why Delta? On Twitter, they were talking about the triangle for Delta being the button on the handset. So you might get Metal Gear Solid X, you might get Metal Gear Solid Square, but who knows? Maybe that's just a simple explanation. The official statement from Konami, Delta is meaning fits the concept of the remake project. Delta is meant to mean change or different without changing the structure. So that's the real reason, and I thank you.
Oh,
wow.
okay.
That's
I
really
had my own
interesting.
theory where I thought it was going to be, as this is MGS3, the triangle. Same as you said with the handset, triangle is it's three-sided. For MGS1 remake, it'd be the circle because it's one-sided. X is 2 lines, so that'd be 2. And if they did 4, it'd be a square. But that's a better theory than mine. Well, that's confirmed. So it's better than my idea.
My theory was very simple. My theory was it's a triangle, so you got Naked Snake, which is MGS3, and you got Les Enfants Terribles, which is the other 2 sides of the triangle, making a little triangle. However, Solidus is another one, so it doesn't quite fit the triangle. It's like a triangle with a dot next to it. But that was the best I came up with. So this is why I don't go on Wiki and post these things, guys. So Spence.
But now we know.
So Spence, moving away from Metal Gear Solid just for the moment, give me your Mary.
Right, well, I thought this was going to be yours 100%. And I was very surprised when it wasn't. But now, you know for a fact what mine is. Mine, I had 3 options again. And one of them was Spider-Man 2. So, fantastic choice, Phil. One of them definitely wasn't MGS Collection. Or 1, 2, or 3.
That was a safe pick, that one, wasn't it, really? Come on.
Yeah, not a chance. And the other one, I'll save for later. So the big one, the one that's easy to marry. Ooh. How about a nice cup of liberty?
Hell
It's
yeah.
Helldivers 2.
Hell yeah.
What a fantastic game. Obviously, we saw this initial trailer that got leaked months ago. And then when they showed it when they showed it in the showcase, it was everything I wanted and so much more. Because I thought it was just going to be a prettier version of the original Helldivers with maybe cutscenes or something as well. It's third person and it looks brutal. It looks absolutely stunning. The cutscenes look great. The animations look great. The graphics look phenomenal. The combat looked insane. And if you're in third person, the thing with Helldivers, you die quite easy. And you accidentally kill soldiers and your teammates quite easy too. And you drop stuff, and if they land on you, you die. And there's just a lot of ways to die. In this, different from Helldivers 1, you can't see behind you. We're going to be dying all the time, and I'm living for it. I can't wait. I think this is going to be fantastic. I'm so keen. This has easily jumped up to my most anticipated game after June 2nd. Wait till Street Fighter 6 comes out, and then this is my most anticipated game. It's not even close.
I got to say, Spence, that one of the reasons why MGS went to the top of my list is because I knew that if I didn't pick it up, you'd definitely go for Helldivers, so it would give us a chance. Helldivers 2, do not get me wrong here, listener, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Helldivers 2 was the best trailer of the showcase, bar none, in my opinion. Better than Spider-Man. It was an absolute shock. It's a franchise, which now it is a franchise, that speaks to me on every single level. It's difficult. It involves a lot of teamwork to be able to make sure that you're successful on every single mission, that you get the highest rankings. And it's just fun. It's arcade fun. It's gameplay perfection. In the same way that something like Returnal is, or any of the other games that I just really, really enjoy based purely on their gameplay. Arrowhead knocked it out of the park, and the support that this game has had over its many years that it's been running on PlayStation and PC has been excellent. A shed load of different packs, an ultimate pack that you can buy on PlayStation right now, which will just give you everything they've ever put out. You get a stack of vehicles. So the way it works, for those who don't know, is you pick a mission, you go in there with a maximum of 4 people, you all drop down to the planet together, taking a set loadout which you pick yourself in terms of set equipment, and each mission will have its own reward, which will either be a new stratagem, which is a new piece of equipment, or it could be like a vehicle, could be a mech suit, could be anything. And you just build through these different galactic campaigns of taking over worlds and killing the bugs or killing the cyborgs or killing whoever and making sure that Super Earth dominates, spreading that liberty everywhere. And it's just a fantastic experience. And for me, I think about it and I think, right, well, the three of us, we no longer have to think about what our Thursday game is anymore because it's Helldivers, and it's Helldivers all the goddamn time. And I am worried how I'm going to balance this alongside Street Fighter and everything else, because Helldivers is a game that I've been asked. Well, I didn't even think to ask for a sequel for the longest time, so I didn't think it was even remotely possible. And Arrowhead coming out here showing why they should be bought as the next fucking studio from PlayStation, because this was such a step up from what came before, and still holding on to what makes the series feel so unique in its identity, where it's very tongue-in-cheek, it's very fun, but it's challenging. And by God, that trailer was excellent. Absolutely spellbindingly great. Perfection. Blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. Great choice. Phil, have you got any thoughts on Helldivers 2?
Well, I think I remarked when we were doing the stream that I'm not as big a Helldivers fan as you guys are. Well, I'm not a fan at all because I've never played Helldivers, but this one really, really appealed to me. I really like the kind of Starship Troopers on steroids kind of look to this game. Everybody fights, no one quits, as they famously said in that movie. And I'm in for a Thursday night, semi-casual, I would say. Couple of hours with you boys, running through, squashing some bugs. I'm ready to saddle up Roughnecks. Hoo yeah!
I'll call you Rico all night long if you play Helldivers with us, mate. That's for damn sure. And great choice, Spence. Absolutely fantastic choice. Love that, Mary. So, with our love letters done, our wives tucked up in bed, waiting for our return, time to go out, put someone down. Shovel the shit away and get on with our lives. Lads, it's time for the kills. Mr. Hoy, coming across to you. Kick off the list.
Well, Davey, my kill, and this might be a slight cop-out because it's a group of games. I had very high expectations for what PlayStation, Sony were going to bring to us on the PSVR 2. And I hate to say it, guys, nothing through the games that they showed would make me want to buy one of these £500 plus bits of hardware. Beat Saber, the game that cannot be mentioned for VR. I don't want to play it again. Arizona's Sunshine 2, Crossfire, Sierra Squad, Five Nights at Freddy's, and then the game that you guys actually thought looked pretty good, and the visuals did, but it's not £500 good. Synapse. There's just nothing here for me. There's no big dicks. There's no Half-Life Alyx, so I will not be buying a PSVR 2 at the moment. Sometime in the future, fingers crossed that Sony come to me and go, Phil, this is what you've been waiting for. You can take that money out of Chase, you can put aside that 3.3% that you're earning on that £500, and you can give it to Big Daddy Sony, because we're taking your money, because here's the game you've wanted. Here's the game for you. None of those games spoke to me. I'm sorry, guys. I really, really wanted to want a PSVR 2, and nothing at this showcase gave me it. So I'm taking them all out, and I'm going, I'm putting them all down. Not for me.
Wow. I mean, for me, as a PlayStation VR 2 owner, Synapse looked sick. It looked sick on the first initial trailer. It looked great again. It looked absolutely phenomenal. And for me, the game that can't be mentioned for. The VR mode in that looked immense. And you and me, Spence, we popped off as soon as you saw the knife parry. Because we know how that's going to be. We know how that's going to work. And it's going to be so sick to do. Just literally pshowing it out of the way with your left hand. It's going to be so nice. I'm so in for this. I'm absolutely so in for this. Cannot wait. Absolutely cannot wait. And I think the showing wasn't like super strong, but there was some good stuff in there. And to have Beat Saber, which is a big VR game, come out day and date, was a nice little inclusion. Is it enough to get it over the line for me? No. But, from my perspective, I thought it was a fairly decent showing, if not heavy in the way we wanted it to be.
Yeah, for me, with PSVR 2, Synapse looks phenomenal. It was actually potentially one of my marries. It looks amazing. Like you said, Davey, we saw this, I think, initially on Twitter. Then we watched the trailer. Then we saw this new trailer, and it's blowing me away every time. It looks like an absolutely phenomenal VR experience. I can't wait to play it. But then the other games they showed, Arizona Sunshine 2, sure. I know the first one's great. I'd love to play the second one, but I haven't played the first, so I'm not going to get that. Beat Saber, already have it on the Quest, and I don't play it really on there anymore because I have a PSVR 2, and I'm not going to splash the money because we have better experiences. So unless I just got 30 quid to waste and I fancy it, not for me as it stands. I think I was also quite disappointed with what they showed, similar to you, Phil, whereas it was only 5 games when they kind of showed this showcase, announced it as a PSVR 2 and PS5 showcase, and it was only 5 games. So it was a letdown, and they didn't show any first parties, didn't show any mind-blowing games. The best game there was Synapse, which we already knew about. So I'd agree it was a very poor showing. I'm also not going to kill it because I have a PSVR 2 and I'm going to buy Synapse. But I understand your murders, my friend.
Okay, got a quick question for you. Because for me, there was no console sellers there. If you didn't own a PSVR 2 and you saw these 5 or 6 games that came up throughout the showcase, would you be handing over your money?
No, unless I was a crazy fan of the game that can't be mentioned 4. Because I think, for me, the reason why I bought the PSVR 2 originally, one of those reasons is Village VR. Have I played it yet? No. But that was definitely one of the reasons why I bought it, that and Horizon. 2 big franchises that I really like, that I really enjoy, was enough to get me in the door. So seeing this, if I was a massive fan of 4, then potentially, yeah, it could well be. Because, that's the reason why I got into this space in the first place, was Village.
For me, it's just a simple no. Not a chance. I've thought about buying a Quest 2 to play the original game Convention 4 VR, but now that we have this one come in, I'll play that instead, but I wouldn't buy the console for it. So, it's not a console seller. None of them are console sellers, but when you already have one, it's fine. So I understand what you mean. If I didn't own a PSVR 2, I'd probably not really fancy this list either. But because I do, obviously, I'm a bit more lenient with it.
It's mega frustrating, isn't it? Because I thought this is the time for them to come out swinging with something that would really get me into this space and get that PSVR 2 on my head. But they just didn't. So they let me down on this one. It's not affected the overall show score because of the games we've talked about, but this part of the show for me was just dire.
Fair. Absolutely fair. Well, for my kill, guys, I got a couple of contenders here. I got a few. I'm going to go for what I think is the low-hanging fruit here. I'm going for Foam Stars. This game looks like a piece of shit. Phil, you were saying this on the showcase, and I completely agree. It's a total rip-off of Splatoon. And I don't even like Splatoon. I think Splatoon looks like an absolute bag of wank. But then seeing it just be foam instead of paint, and for it to be these shit anime-esque characters with no real personality, style, and nothing about it looked unique. It looked like it was made in UE5 and just pissed out the door with like a tenner's worth of development. It looked fucking awful. This game, no chance it's going to find an audience. No chance it's going to survive. This game is DOA as far as I'm concerned. And if I had been in charge at Square Enix, this game wouldn't... Actually, in fact, I'll go further than that. The developers wouldn't have made it out of the pitch meeting. Because I would have immediately hit them with the Dr. Evil chair button, where they just go down in the pit and just get burnt. Because this game is an absolute fucking tragedy. Terrible. Absolutely fucking terrible.
God damn, mate. Guess I got Echo's thoughts. It would have been my kill as well. This game, Foam Stars, I was going to say it's B-Tech Splatoon. I don't like Splatoon. Exactly what you're saying. They've just nicked Splatoon, got rid of the characters and the story, and pissed it out. And that is it. It looks absolutely abysmal. It pissed me off when they showed it. The character models, the graphics look nice, but the character models themselves actually look terrible. Like it genuinely looks like they put no work into it. They just thought, what is the way we can take Splatoon without Nintendo coming for us? And this is what they've done. And it actually genuinely pissed me off seeing that game. What a waste of like 3 minutes. Oh, kill it off. Kill it off.
Super annoying, like when you copy someone's homework, aren't you meant to change it a little bit and kind of make it better? Like, how long has Splatoon been out for PlayStation to go, do you know what we should do? We should copy Splatoon. Okay, fair enough, right? Everyone borrows ideas and takes influences from popular genres and popular media. Granted, we can accept that, fine. But improve on it, make it better. Who thought that this is an improvement on Splatoon? All the things you guys have mentioned, 100% bang on. Because what they did, they just made a shitter Splatoon. And I'm not the target market for Splatoon anyway. So it's a complete miss for me. Honestly, jog on, Sony, with this one. Jog on, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I know they got a great relationship with Square Enix. They're probably like, well, we're getting Final Fantasy 16. We're getting Final Fantasy 7 Part 2. Sure. We'll show you fucking foam blasting game. Chuck it in the mix and go on. And maybe there's somebody out there that buys it, but I tell you what, if any of you listening to the show thought foam stars look great, take your own head off, look at yourself in the mirror, and just fucking boot it out the window. You don't deserve to fucking live. Absolutely terrible opinion if anyone thinks it looked good. It looked like a load of fucking shit. Kill it by fire, fuck it off, and hopefully my brain will forget this game exists in a couple of months. But we'll wait and see. Spence, what's your kill, mate?
Right, well, seeing as you took foam stars away from me, which easily was getting destroyed, eviscerated, wiped off the face of the earth, and then killing myself after that as well, because I know that it existed. My kill. Don't want to kill it as bad as foam stars, but it's definitely dying, at least for me. I'm sure you're going to argue this, Davey.
Oh, me?
My kill is Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Oh.
Ooh.
And that's because I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game since 3, I think. 3 or
Okay.
Brotherhood. I think it was Brotherhood, then I had a gap, but I got 3 for free with my GPU when I bought that, when I upgraded my PC, whenever Assassin's Creed 3 came out. Played maybe 2 hours of it, 3 hours of it, and I was like, I'm so done with Assassin's Creed. And it's been, 12 years since I've played one, and I'm still done with it. I do not want to go back to Assassin's Creed. Although Mirage looks like AC2, which is my favorite one, it's the best one. Obviously, I haven't played Black Flag, but it's the best one in my opinion. I still don't want to go back. I don't feel any passion for Assassin's Creed at all. I never want to play the franchise again unless they do something that is actually breathtaking, which I don't think this is.
Wow. I'm mega shocked that's your kill. Like, absolutely shocked to my core. I thought it looked great. I thought it looked really good. And this is just me speaking here, right? Like, I played every Assassin's Creed up until and including Syndicate. So I dropped off. When it went to this like kind of more RPG-esque style of Assassin's Creed that they've done for Egypt, and then they did for Greece. I dropped off for all that, and more recently Valhalla, where it went Vikings. So I've missed out on 3 different entries over the space of about 6 years, and depending on how much more we see from this, because I imagine we got a lot more to see. This was kind of just showing some of the mechanics and how much it borrows from the older titles, which has kind of got me looking through the peeking glass, looking through the door on this. If we get to see some really good stealth mechanics and some great like assassinations, I'm in for this. They could get me back here with Mirage. This could be a way to reopen the door on what was a long chapter of my life across the PS3. So we'll wait and see this space. I get what you're saying, that you don't want to even entertain the idea, but I'm not writing it off just yet.
It's fair. Phil, mate, do you have any thoughts on this game?
It's hard for me to really comment about the Assassin's Creed games because we've all got them, haven't we, lads? This is my gaming dark spot. I have never, ever played an Assassin's Creed game. I don't know a lot about them. I've never been interested to read any articles about them, let alone play any of them. And this one definitely isn't bringing me into the fold because there was nothing new and just nothing interesting with the game. So unfortunately, it was just a complete miss for me. I think at that point, I may have even gone and got a drink because I don't care about Assassin's Creed.
Fair.
That's my boy. Good.
You two having a
Kill it
little.
off.
You two having a little bromance this episode. It's nice to see. It's nice to see. Well, moving away from the love. Any HMs, anything you guys want to discuss before we get into the internet backlash and kind of start winding down the show? Any other games that weren't included on our list, 'cause it was only a small contingent that we were able to hype up here, anyone to bring to the forefront? Mr. Hoy, we'll come across to yourself first.
Sure, I want to show a little game called Marathon a little bit of love because I think that was the game that stood out to me the most outside of course, the two biggest IPs. Now, this one, it's Bungie's PvP extraction shooter game, which at the time I was like, what even is an extraction shooter? But apparently it's like Escape from Tarkov. I think you boys have played it in the past, where you go along, you do runs, you acquire gear, and you've got to get out before you're killed by the other team. Right? It's an interesting game. It looks like an interesting subject matter. It's very cyberpunk. It's very futuristic. Some of the ideas there, mind-blowing. Some of the graphics, wow. Wow. For the art style alone, it got me interested. Let alone extraction shooter. I don't know if I'm keen on that. I've never played one, but I'm open to it now because the art style here has got me in. And to see what Bungie is up to, of course, I can't wait to see what they're going to be doing on PlayStation. Marathon, it's a cross-platform game, and apparently we're getting cross-platform saves, so you can switch between PS5 and Xbox and PC, which is very interesting, right? It's a game for everybody, so hopefully it gets the push from all the different platforms, and I would like to play this one. I'd be open to maybe not dropping the 70 on this one, but if it came in at a lower point, or I might just buy it on PC, who knows, I would definitely be up for playing a bit of this game. I don't know about you boys.
I don't know. I think it looks really good, and a lot of people, namely Xbox fanboys, are raging about it, simply because it's by an Xbox dev, I'm fairly sure, because everyone's saying it looks amazing, it's all they're excited for, but really it was a cinematic trailer, and we haven't actually seen anything yet. I think the art style looks really cool. I think the direction of it's cool. When it's set, all that is cool. The futuristic aspects of it is cool. And as keen as I am for it, because I think it would be very fun, and I do like Escape from Tarkov, like you said earlier. I did play that quite a lot, and if this is similar, I'd very much like it. I just need to see some meat. I'd need to see the gameplay, and I've been bitten in the arse too many times from cinematic trailers for me to jump in on it this soon. I need to see something, and then I'll be keen. But I'm open-minded so far, open-minded.
Well, the predictions are that it's going to be out around mid-2024. So we've got a bit of time, a couple more shows, and I think we're obviously going to start to see some gameplay leak through. But as I mentioned on the stream, I have been keeping an eye on their Twitter account, and they've been very active with some cryptic tweets, which have been very nice. Quite enjoy a little bit of Easter egg hunting around the internet. But one of their tweets, and this will make you laugh, right? They've released some merch already for the game. And I looked. It was a set of maybe 5 or 6 different t-shirts. Fairly nice, futuristic, cyberpunk, along the same lines as the game as you would expect. And they're all numbered, right? So you get your own number when you buy your t-shirt. It's limited edition. Now, guys, how much do you think these t-shirts were?
Oh my god.
Take a guess. You can have a range of about £10. Give me a guess. How much were these t-shirts? I wouldn't go too high, but just think about this one.
Okay. I'm gonna go for $45.99.
Okay, so you got £10 either side of that. Okay.
So scummy.
Yeah. I got you.
That's wild. I'm gonna say. I was
You
gonna
going
say
higher or lower, Spence?
yeah. I'm going higher. I was gonna say 80,
yeah.
but as it's a £10 window, I'm gonna say 70. So it could cap at 80 because I think that's probably what it is. But then I have 70 and 60 if it is cheaper. So I'm gonna say 70.
Oof, you were so damn close. And to be fair, I'd give it to Spencer on this one because the cost of these t-shirts, limited edition, mind, with a number on it, £77.77. Now, I'm not sure on the reference because I don't understand the IP just yet, but it was 7777 for these t-shirts. And it's just a cotton t-shirt with a screen print on it. Now, I like my expensive clothing, right? I've bought some ludicrously priced t-shirts in the past, but there's always something special about those t-shirts, and having a number on them isn't special enough for me, so I avoided that. I don't know who's buying a t-shirt for £77, 77 pence for a new IP just because it's Bungie.
I mean, Bungie are, especially in the FPS division, Bungie are legendary. You know, the makers of Halo 1, 2, and 3, Destiny 1 and 2. I mean, that's as big a deal as you can get in the FPS genre. And so I get why everyone's excited for this. I get that. I wouldn't pay 70-odd quid for a fucking t-shirt. I wouldn't pay. There was Cloak, right? I think it's Cloak or Cloaked. They did a collab with Dead Space, right? And there's these cool Dead Space t-shirts where they got all like Isaac pattern on the front, and on the back it's got like the health bar going down it. And that was a £32 t-shirt. I thought, I ain't paying £32 for a fucking Dead Space t-shirt. You having a laugh? So 70-odd quid for a brand new IP. You're having a joke. No chance. Absolutely no chance.
We're saying this, and I thought about spending £1,500 on a Death Stranding coat from Acronym, so... yeah, I'm a massive hypocrite here. Massive hypocrite.
Yeah, you're a mug. A mug is what you are. Fuck wearing that out.
I was going to say, it's wild. Cloaked, first off, I'm pretty sure that's Markiplier's clothing line. So there you go, little tidbit of information about that. I've just found out that Marathon, the Bungie's game, is actually, this is going to be like the 4th installment in the IP.
Yeah, Marathon's like a dead IP. So it's
yeah.
It was
the original Marathon launched in December 1994 on the Macintosh, the first release, and there's 3 of them. And this is the new installment of it. They're bringing it back for PS5, for everything, which that's cool and gives a bit of insight into maybe how it's going to play if we look into those trilogy. But even still, it's a game that's been dead for over 20 years. So it's brave choice, I think, bringing it back rather than going for new IP.
I would love you to go back and give us a review on the Macintosh.
The Macintosh, man.
You with old games, that would be that would be pure liquid gold, mate. That would be incredible stuff to watch you go back and try and play that on a Macintosh.
It's bullshit.
Please make it happen.
You can't look down the sights, mate. You can't look down the sights. It's fucking bullshit, this game. It's a good thing you haven't played Bolt Gun yet, mate. That'd be scathing, that review.
Oh, I'll tell you what, mind. It's literally Doom, except this multiplayer up to 8 players.
Crazy.
It looks sick.
There we go. It's a boomer shooter.
It looks
You'd
great.
hate that, mate. You'd hate that.
Absolutely hate it. The rage.
Yeah, I gotta say, with my thoughts on Marathon, it very much in line with Spence. I've got to see more. I thought the art style looked cool. I thought it looked interesting. Having Bungie's name attached to it immediately just puts it up there, doesn't it? You know, in terms of hype and anticipation. But I got to see more meat on the bones. Destiny was fun, and I enjoyed the first one. I didn't enjoy it enough to want to hang around and to play it for years and years and years. Sorry. But I didn't enjoy it enough to play it for years and years and years. So we'll see here. Bungie don't mean the biggest amount to me. I adore the Halo trilogy that they did. But I need to see more. 100%. 100%. And we got time until then. Spence, what about you? Have you got any games you want to bring up here?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. The first one, I got quite a few. Quite a few things anyway.
All right.
But the first one, very quick, because I don't actually give a damn about the game. Dragon's Dogma, bruh. Ooh.
Oh, no.
God.
Oh, no.
Here it goes. Why wasn't this your Shag?
It was on my list, but I thought I thought, really, I don't want to shag the game, just the one bird that was in the trailer.
You got a problem.
I've never, Davey, mate, you did the same thing, so you can shut up. I've never had a reaction like that in my life where she came on screen and I couldn't hold it in. I just went, oh, wow. And I was like, whoa. I was like blushing and stuff. I was like, oh my God. I was like, Cammy, get out the way. Jesus. It was insane. And for that reason alone, Dragon's Dogma, I might be buying it, boys. She was playing.
You're down bad. You are down bad, mate. Honest to God. It's getting worse as well. I think the more we're indulging it and you're letting it come out, it's just getting worse and worse. But you're right.
Bro,
I reacted.
She came on screen and you went, oh.
I did. But then I also did it for that big buff girl. And I was like, oh, geez, giant she is. In like a seductive tone. So yeah, maybe I'm down bad too, you know? But I can just blame marriage for that one. Yeah, fair enough. It looks interesting, Dragon's Dogma, and I know how much hype there is in the community for Dragon's Dogma. And the gameplay, gotta say, it looked great. You know, graphically, it looked phenomenal. And as we know, Capcom don't miss, other than Exoprimal. So, you know.
Whoa, I won't have that. I will not have that.
No.
I'm quitting the show. Fuck you. Dinosaurs falling from the sky. Overwatch style gameplay. What's your problem, mate? Get off that high horse with Metal Gear Solid.
How can they miss?
Exoprimal, motherfucker.
How can they miss? And yet somehow they open goal, they sky it way above. Oh, tragedy. Absolute tragedy. Yeah, well, fair enough. Great choice, though, Spence. I appreciate the Dragon's Dogma love. I'm sure there's a lot of people that will enjoy it. And, of course, I would shag the absolute shit out of that virtual bird because she was something special. For my little HM, I'm bringing in a game that is quite sad that it's not featured on this list so far. And it's definitely the low-hanging fruit here in this HM category here. And that's Phantom Blade Zero. Phantom Blade Zero is a game where went into it and we had no expectation. It started rolling out. We thought it might be Bloodborne. We thought it might be like one of the Ronin games that have been shown. Like, there's been so many samurai games ever since Ghost of Tsushima that they all kind of start blending together. And as the trailer unfolded and we saw how slick this combat looked and how great it looked just to block enemies and to fight them and to take them out, it looked so stylish and so cool throughout the entire thing. And they showed quite a huge chunk of gameplay broken across different parts of the game. From riding on the back of a chariot, you know, taking out two guards like immediately from the back of a chariot looks so sick, to launching off the top of or launching up cliffs and then stabbing people from the top. It just looked great. The entire trailer was textbook example of how you put a first impression out there. Because immediately came out of it thinking, right, well, this is a sale. It's got me. It's got me immediately. I'm so in for this. And the Phantom Blade series has always been on mobile, and mainly relegated to China. So to see it come over and come to PlayStation and be on UE5 looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. And it's a shame it couldn't be higher up in my list, but it had strong competition. Any thoughts on Phantom Blade Zero, guys?
Yeah, I just have to completely echo those thoughts because it's an unknown IP to me. And I went in, same as you, it's just add-on for Elden Ring, isn't it? Some DLC, some Chinese DLC. But no, the more we watched, the more sucked in I got with this game. And by the end of it, it already had my money because, oh my God, that's how you do a trailer. That's how you do first impressions. This is the level that we're expecting from every single motherfucker that comes to a PlayStation showcase. You want to raise your bar. You want to get to Phantom Blade Zero's level. Because for me, that was the trailer of the show. Okay, we had Metal Gear. We had Spider-Man. And they were incredible. And they were the ones I wanted at the show. But this was the best trailer. And it left me with the best impression. My God, this game looks incredible. As Davey said, the movement, the combat, just the setting. Absolute perfection. And as I said earlier, it's got my money.
Hell yeah. For me, that trailer came up and it was was a dark horse, really. It was something no one called. No one knew it was going to be there. Complete random trailer. And it started, it was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. And it was kind of like Lies of P, where that trailer came out of nowhere, came out of thin air, and everyone was like, oh, what is this? And Phantom Blade, it was like you said, mate, it was the second he started parrying stuff. And it's like, ching, 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 ching. You're like, what? It looks so fun. It looks absolutely insane. It looks beautiful. The setting, like you said, Phil, is perfect. Everything about it was just fantastic. It's easily a day one. Easily now on my most anticipated list. It looks phenomenal. I'm super keen, boys. Super keen.
You know when something's good because Twitter just erupts, okay? So throughout the showcase, as we were streaming, I was multitasking a little bit, and I had Twitter on my second monitor. And all the way through the show, it was Phantom Blade 0 that was coming up. Metal Gear Solid took over for a little bit. Spider-Man obviously ended the show well. But this game had the most longevity throughout the show, and people were tweeting after tweeting after tweeting because they were as shocked as us. What an impression to make.
Absolutely phenomenal. And for the first time to be putting it onto consoles, this series, just wow. Absolutely wow. I can't wait to see more. And to know this is coming to PC and PlayStation 5 and it be a console exclusive on PlayStation. Bro, add it to the list. We eating good. We eat in good with these little partnerships. And if this is the result of their work they've been doing in the Chinese market, with this money that they invested into Chinese developers, money well spent as far as I'm concerned. Because this looks really special. Can't wait to see more. Now, any other HMs before we move it on?
I have one more.
Go for it.
And it's something that it was almost a shag, but I thought I'm going to leave it because we don't know much about it yet. And that is the Sony PlayStation earbuds.
Okay.
Because at the moment, nice little thing. At the moment, I'm using AirPods and I have an Android phone. So the compatibility isn't great. And I've kind of been eyeing up earphones, trying to find a nice pair. I want a new watch as well, the Galaxy Watch or something. But I've been looking at earbuds and this is kind of the perfect time. The fact that they're going to be able to work with, because Bluetooth earphones don't work with the PS5. They don't work. Unless you have like a dongle you can plug in or something. These are built for the PS5. They connect to your phone. You'll be able to use them in VR. And sure, we have little earbuds that kind of clip into the PSVR too. But these are going to be pure wireless. And they look fantastic as well. I'm a sucker for buying PlayStation stuff. I just love it. I love having everything. So these earbuds, easily keeping my eye on them. But I just need to see how they compare to Sony's other earbuds, because they make fantastic ones. And the price, namely. Especially the price, because the price, from looking at them, the quality of them, I'm guessing around 150, 200.
Oh, you think that high? Really?
Yes, definitely high.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
they sell wireless earbuds go for that much.
I tell you what, if it does come out at that price point, that'd be really promising. Because this is what we said when we covered this, when the rumor came out with this and you know, the fucking cloud device, which I'm surprised actually never made our kill list, guys. I'm surprised it didn't make any of our kill lists. Yeah, we were saying at the time that we wanted it to be a premium device, that we don't mind paying if the sound quality is excellent, battery life's great, you know, the usability's across the board. Yeah, price would be a big deal for me. If these come out and they're 100 quid, I'll probably pass. But if they are more on that premium level, definitely more interested at that point, 100%.
I'm in as well with these headphones. They look beautiful. I love the design of these headphones, and I love the little case and the little animation they had where it basically just slotted over the headphones. That was just perfect. I love them. I've got, same as you, Spence, I have the Apple alternative at the moment, but I do have the Apple phone, so compatibility is not an issue for me. But I love my tech, and if they come out and they're quality, as you guys are saying, then I think I'll probably be buying them, but then I'll probably struggle to find a use for them, unfortunately, because I wear my noise cancelling headphones when I'm playing PlayStation. When am I going to use these? I don't know, but they do look lovely, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely stunning. I will say I do have one more HM, and it's not really a HM, it's just something I want to say. and you boys might fully fight me.
Okay, go for it.
The Project Q was on my kill list. And as I thought about it, I deleted it off there. Because, like I said, I'm a sucker for Sony stuff. I might get one.
No, mate.
Ooh.
Depending
Why?
on the price point. Because I'm thinking when I'm at my missus' house and she's got a PS5, just stream from there. Or whatever. And I just play games. I just quite like the novelty of it. Being able to sit downstairs with the family, my dog, and still be able to play games or whatever. I think it's a cool little device. And if it has the actual all the functionality, which it's supposed to, I'd just quite like to own it, especially because it doesn't actually have anything inside of it. It shouldn't be that expensive. So if it is relatively affordable, I'd like it. If it's 150 or more, it's a no.
It's definitely going to be more.
It has to be cheaper. It has to be cheaper than that. If it's not, I'm not getting it.
Unlike the headphones, I think they really shit the bed with the design of this one. Because there's been lots of concepts, and I think we used one on one of our previous thumbnails, which look 100% better than this. This just looks like, and this is what's been happening on Twitter lately, is people are getting their Switch and putting two Joy-Cons awkwardly attached to it. So there's this big gap at the bottom where your hands kind of grip it. I don't know what Sony were thinking on that. Sony are the king of product design. Go back to some of their Walkmans. Go back to that record player that stands on end like a bloody chainsaw. Like, Sony make beautiful kit. And with the new PlayStation 5, some of the stuff just isn't hitting for me. And again, this is one of them.
I think the design's okay. I think it's fine. And I think actually just having it so it's two halves of a normal controller is great. It means that it should feel pretty much exactly the same as just using a normal controller. No bother with that at all. For me, it just comes down to the functionality. And it just isn't there. It's just a load of fucking shit. Like, what am I... am I really...
Say it as is, mate.
I will. Because what am I going to do? Am I going to be that desperate that I can't get up to my TV, that I'm going to take it into the bathroom just so I can play that little 5 minutes more? If I was so desperate, I'd just buy a fucking Backbone 1. Just buy a Backbone 1. And sure, it's not, doesn't have the haptics, doesn't have that kind of stuff built into it. But really, do you care when you're just taking a shit? I don't know. I don't think I would. I think I'd just be like, well, this does the job. Right? Like,
But is it really for when you're having a shit? It's for when someone else is using the TV, surely.
just buy another fucking TV. Stop being a mug.
That's mad.
Fuck is wrong with you? Like,
How
what?
big's your room, mate?
How? What?
Oh, money bags over here. Just buy another TV.
It'd be
400
cheaper
quid.
than buying a fucking Project Q. That's for damn sure. You can go on Facebook Marketplace and pick up like a 42-inch TV that at least be HD, maybe even fucking 4K, which is better than what this piece of shit does. And it would be like fucking 100 quid. It's just ridiculous. It's just a fucking joke, this thing. And it gets me more angry the more I think about it. It's just such a waste. Such a waste. And it's the first time that I've looked at Sony's whole entire pantheon of different consoles and equipment they've put out, and I thought, fucking hell, you've just fucking botched it. Absolutely botched it. And I even bought a PlayStation Move. Come on. I mean, they got me with those coloured all bollocks. And they were fine, they did the job, but it wasn't any better than a fucking Wii controller. And here we are with this. Fuck no. Absolutely no. Switch is so much better. Switch is so much better than this thing. And it's, without question, it's better. You can dock it, so you can play it in both ways. It's fully the game playing on little cool carts. And this is like, oh, got no internet? Oh, my device is fucking useless. Brilliant. Good job.
It's almost like the previous Nintendo, isn't it?
It's the Wii U.
It's the Wii U.
It's the Wii U gamepad. It literally is.
It's such a step back from what Sony are. And I think if you're entering into this environment, I know that cloud gaming's the next big thing, but it ain't now. And you could really just do both sides of this by having a way to be able to just download a game onto it. Just for the love of God. For the love of God, Sony, what the fuck are you thinking? And I bet you this thing comes out 200 quid min. Guarantee you. Guarantee it.
It could do. It could do. And if that is the case, I won't get it. But I think, unlike you, Phil, what you said with the design, I really like the design. Just because all it is, it doesn't look nice. It's just practical. It's just two halves of a controller with a screen slapped in the middle.
That's not an argument.
It is.
Just because it's practical, you can excuse design.
Yeah. Something could look
Mate,
pretty,
I've got an
but it
art
can get in
degree
the
and I'm
way.
coming round to beat you up.
If something looks pretty but doesn't feel comfortable in your hands, or it's hard to look at, or whatever, it's a nightmare. If it looks fine, it's just a panel there, and you're holding the pad like this. You're not even looking at the hands. You're just looking at the game. There's nothing to distract you. It looks fine.
So you're
Completely
happy
fine.
with an ugly world as long as it works.
100%, yeah. Actually, entirely correct. Yeah.
Spence
I
has
don't
that.
care.
Might say a lot about you.
Spence has that same like artistic vision as like the Russians in the Soviet era, where as long as it works, that's all that really matters. You know, just bang it a couple
out.
of times and
Bang
it'll
on.
work. You know.
Exactly right, mate. Exactly right. But I don't know. I just kind of want it now, just to have it. But if it is at a stupid price point, I'm not going to get it. Unless, I mean, I might anyway. I don't know. It's just something I want to own. Even if
I
it's
want it to
something that
be-
hardly gets touched.
I want it to be mega cheap, and then we can buy one for Davey for his birthday or Christmas,
That'd
and then
be great.
watch him erupt live on stream. We'll get him to open it like live. That'd be so cool. Like we'll stream him opening it at Christmas. He'll run downstairs. He'll go, "Oh, I wonder what Ben and Spencer have got me for Christmas." Run down, open the tree. Oh, look at this! It's kind of a sizable box. They must have got me something I really like. Starts to unwrap it. Bit of PlayStation in the
logo.
corner. He's losing his shit, isn't he? He's like, "Oh my god, they know me. It's as if we're friends."
They got me a
And then he
DualSense
opens
Edge.
it and goes, "Ah, they've done me, haven't they?"
Do you know what? It might
Chucks
be
it against the wall.
Mate, it might be one of our most successful videos because you know, like back in the day when people would buy like an Xbox and they're like first in line and they just smash it with a sledgehammer right out the front of the store, and it used to do like millions of views. All it would be, I'd unwrap it and just chuck it straight out the fucking window. I don't fucking need this piece of shit. Just fucking launch it.
That's why you get so many animals in your house, because you leave your windows open all the time. You've got to close those, mate.
I do. Maybe
Stop all those pigeons flying in.
I could beat a fucking squirrel to death with it. That's the only fucking use it's gonna get. Piece
If you
of
catch
There'll be a
shit.
pigeon flying through. It'll be like, here's a big open window. He'll go to fly through it, and there'll be a Q light hit him in the head.
Just launch, absolutely launch. Shit.
Perfect timing. Ba-boom. And then the Q light's still in your house. Just fall behind the sofa.
See, mate, I reckon we'd buy it for you, and you'd be like, "Fuck yeah!" Now you're about to go on holiday. You think I may as well take it. And you'd come back on the show. You'd be like, "You know what, boys? This was fantastic to play whilst away. Hotspotted on my phone, 5G worked perfectly." I think you'd come back and you'd be like, "What
Couldn't
a great
change
little
games, though.
device." Couldn't change games. Yeah, couldn't change games.
In its physical edition.
Just stuck. It's absolutely stuck. And do you know what I also find insulting about it? I've got by far the worst internet out of you three. Out of you two. By far. I could
Us
barely...
three. It's that bad.
It's that bad, yeah. I'm talking about myself in the third person. It's got me so riled up. I couldn't even fucking run this thing. I bet if I went down to the kitchen and my PlayStation's upstairs, I'd be running at like fucking 10 frames a second at fucking 140p. It would be awful.
Also, I just want to say your argument, whereas this is just a worse Nintendo Switch, bro, the Switch can't run the games it has.
Mate, the Switch is like 7 years old and it's got double the functionality.
It couldn't run them on launch. Bro. Breath of the Wild lags out the wazoo. This is going to look prettier than the Switch. With the games, they will look prettier, depending on how far away you are from your PS5. But it's going to run smoother unless you have
Mate,
shite internet, which in your case, unlucky.
there's no argument for this. The Switch is just it's just an actually well-designed, thought-out piece of kit. And even though it's way underpowered, it shouldn't be performing as well as it does. I don't know how the fuck it runs Zelda, to be honest. This is just...
What about the Steam Deck?
It doesn't
Steam
run
Deck's
Zelda.
Steam Deck's much better.
Steam Deck. Let's hope more PlayStation games come to Steam.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I don't need a Q light.
That's true, actually. That's a great comparison. That's a much better comparison.
Yeah, Steam Deck's where it's at. That's the dream, and that's what PlayStation could have got on. And the fact that they just half step it, fuck off out of here, it just gets me angry. It gets me really angry. And I think the more information that comes out over the coming months for this, it's just going to get me more wound up. I don't know what they could do to sweeten this for me. I honestly don't know. But yeah, fuck this off, mate. Fuck this right off. And you're bidding off fucking Assassin's Creed. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you, man? This is like an MGS moment all over again.
Project Q, mate.
Fuck's sake.
Hell no.
Absolutely wild. Right, well, speaking of wild, the internet following this whole showcase has gone into a frenzy. Now, I said this at the start, that it could be that we're seeing a vocal minority compared to the full story, but even judging from reactions from some of my friends, it's not gone over well, this conference. Now, in terms of this internet backlash, what do you think the issue is here, guys? What are we seeing that everyone else isn't? What's the difference maker going into this? Any kind of thoughts, any opinion on what it could be? Phil, over to you.
Well, Davey, let me jump on this hot potato first because it's a hot potato, this one, guys. Twitter has blown up, and the amount of bants that I'm getting on Twitter is ludicrous because I rated this a 10 out of 10 and I still believe it is because the IPs that were launched spoke to me. And I think the people that are grumbling are the people that had their big wish lists and none of their predictions came true. There wasn't any Bloodborne, unfortunately, guys. Sorry about that. There was no remake. So all those people, yeah, it's a terrible showcase. Yeah, Sony shit the bed. They didn't do what I wanted. And we're all going to be like that because we're all very biased. And I'm sure I would have been the same if Spider-Man and Metal Gear Solid weren't included. But they were, so have it. 10 out of 10.
That's jokes.
So fuck off.
That was class.
What about yourself, Spence? Any kind of thoughts on what this could be?
I think the vocal majority is not PlayStation fans. I think vocal majority is other people who just like shitting on stuff. Because most of the people, I think, kicking off didn't play Helldivers 1. And so don't care about Helldivers 2, even though they should, because it looked phenomenal on its own right. Let alone if you played Helldivers 1 and already know it's coming from a great game. So that's insane. Spider-Man 2 looked immense, absolutely fantastic. And if you've played Spider-Man or Miles Morales, you know it's just going to be goated as hell. Phantom Blade, Jesus Christ. It's perfect game, it looks like. It looks like it's going to be brilliant. I really don't know what there is to complain about other than the fact that there wasn't like 10 first party things shown or no Bloodborne 2. What a shock. I don't know why anyone's upset about that. Come on. We've been waiting years for it and it's probably never going to happen. It's like Davey being like, oh man, it's in 2 out of 10. They didn't show Resistance. Come on, man. It's imaginary. It's never going to happen. And if it does, thank God. But chances are it probably won't. I'd love it to, but I'm not going to hate anyone if it doesn't because chances are slim. People just need to lower expectations. I think our 10 out of 10s, which we had, were lower than everyone else's 10 out of 10s. Everyone else thought it was going to be an hour of first party, an hour of deep dives into new games, a giant cacophony of what Xbox do, where it's all games from the future. They maybe thought we'd see 3 years down the line, but that's not how Sony works. They're showing you the present. The furthest game we saw is probably, mid next year?
Yeah.
Or maybe close to end next year, and that was it. Sony like to show you what's happening soon, what you're going to be playing within the next few months. And you can't expect them to have an hour of first party games for that.
Yeah.
Stupid.
All really good points. I think for me going into this, I think the issue, there's a couple of issues here. First off, I think that the main one is the naming convention. So having it as a showcase, this is the second showcase we ever had. The last showcase was fucking phenomenal. One of the best showings we've ever had in our entire lives. It was wild. So if you're basing it on the fact that it's called a showcase, I can see why people's expectations have gone wild. They've gone absolutely berserk. Because we had that 2 years ago. The difference is just the length. We now know that a showcase is an hour or so, and a state of play is about half hour, 20 minutes. And that's really all the distinction between the two. That's really all it is, but we didn't know that going into this. So that's a major part. The second is that they mentioned, and yes, this is true, but it also is quite misleading, is that they mentioned in their pre-release kind of hype for it, that it was going to be a suite of new IP and new showings from PlayStation families. So of course, everyone's thinking about, oh, is this Ghost 2? Is this, Death Stranding 2? Are we going to see X and Y? Are we going to see, everything underneath the sun that could possibly come out? They were going to see. I think if they had been honest and they'd maybe got in front of this and said, look, the furthest we're going out with this is the end of 2024 or mid 2024, or just the furthest we're going to go is 2024 release dates. That's the furthest. That would have lowered expectation, because then you're thinking, right, well, we're probably not going to see Ghost 2. You know, that's probably a 2025 game or late 2024 at the very earliest. You know, we're not going to see what Bluepoint are working on just yet. You know, that would be coming down the line. All these different things. So I think half of it is on Sony itself, but then the other half is very much what you guys are saying. And this is something we've said many times on the show before. You can have like an hour or a 45 or a 30-minute conference, whatever it is, but if you get 2 or 3 games that really, really sing for you, that's all that matters. And like you said, Spence, and I think this is a major point, and this is something that people aren't picking up on. Helldivers is a fucking great game. And people do not know about it. People do not know about it. And this is the thing, like, Helldivers 2, our pop-off on watching that when it was first shown, it said Super Earth, was wild. We went absolutely... I woke my son up in the next room because of that. And the amount of people that were probably watching like, what's Helldivers? You know, and they have no idea. They have no idea, like, how good this game is. I
was one of them.
Yeah. And I think that's very much... That's probably a big part of it. So for me, coming out of it with Phantom Blade Zero, Helldivers, MGS... and, of course, Spider-Man. Christ, 4 games over an hour? That's... And all games are going to buy day one. All games that are, like, pretty much system sellers for me. That's enough for it to get my rating. But I can certainly see why Sony, with their naming convention in particular, has undercut this and undersold it to a lot of people who were expecting factions and everything else to come here. I suppose the big thing to remember here is that they are going to be at Summer Game Fest, PlayStation. So it's very much a case that they could be holding back a couple of big hitters for that showcase as well. And that's something to bear in mind. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some other big news in there, because you're competing with Xbox directly at that point. You're competing with everyone else for that mind share. That's really when you need to come out. Spider-Man 2 can do the heavy lifting for this one. You need something big. And there are a ton of rumors going around and circulating right now that there is content held back for games that are good to go within the next year that were held back from this conference, leading people to speculate there's going to be another showcase. Now, I'm not even getting into that conversation. We've been doing that since October of last year. I'm not even entertaining the idea there's another one for this year. I'm just not. But I do think that we are going to see some good little juices in Summer Game Fest. I'll be amazed if they don't come out swinging there with something, because you are competing for mindshare.
I think it makes sense as well. Obviously, I was going to say, it makes sense for us to see factions at Summer Games Fest, because that's where they announced Last of Us Remake.
Yeah.
However, Naughty Dog did post out just earlier today that they're taking more time to develop it. So if we did see anything, it would be a gameplay trailer, because as we know from the first factions, it is just gameplay. There's no cutscenes, there's no nothing, unless they really changed it up.
We don't know,
which I wouldn't expect them to, because it is just a multiplayer mode. If multiplayer has cutscenes, it's a bit strange. You wouldn't expect that from a multiplayer game, unless it's co-op, which it's not. So I wouldn't expect that. I'd imagine we get a teaser game trailer, which is gameplay, or announcement trailer, which we know it's announced anyway. But other than that, I really don't know. They are gonna come out swinging, but Wolverine, call it now, Wolverine, boys.
Jesus. Yeah, Resistance.
It's definitely not Resistance. PS5 Slim.
Oh yeah, you own a shot for that.
Yeah, I do. Shit, I forgot about that.
Well, this leads us on nicely to the pipeline of PS5 games that we've got coming, and we know that are coming to the console. Again, these statistics are from my friend, or my new best friend, Zubitech, over on Twitter. So that's ZUBY, like Ruby, _tech. And he's gone through the current PS5 pipeline. So some of these games we're going to get to see at the Summer Games Fest, and they're going to blow you away. So we've got Final Fantasy 16, Goodbye Volcano High, Firewall Ultra, Spider-Man 2, Synapse, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, Silent Hill, Final Fantasy Rebirth, Grand Blue Fantasy, Lost Soul Aside, The Rise of Ronin, Concord, Last of Us Factions, Converella, I hope I've said that one right, Wolverine, Death Stranding 2, Fair Games, Phantom Blade Zero, Knights of the Old Republic, and Little Devil Inside.
Wow.
Now, guys, the future of PlayStation looks bright.
Certainly does. For me, there's a lot there. And what's quite nice, or I find quite nice, and a lot of fans feel quite annoyed by this, is that we don't know what the vast majority of internal studios are doing. Because a lot of those games are deals or partnerships that they've had. You know, there's a lot of Square Enix in there. There's a lot of the Chinese developed stuff, like with Stellar Blade, which looks absolutely phenomenal. I cannot wait to see that. Surprised we didn't see that at this showing, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. Yeah. I mean, for me, the questions here aren't in this pipeline, which looks absolutely insane for this year especially, Jesus Christ, and getting into next year. Especially learning, like you mentioned there, with Concord from Firewalk Studios, which was obviously announced at the PlayStation Showcased, because they're doing a PvP multiplayer shooter, which is coming out next year. So that would be interesting to see what they do, especially coming off the quality that they just delivered with the Horizon VR game. I've got full confidence in the studio that they're going to deliver something really special. But for me, things I want to know now, and I suppose this is always the exciting part, is when we get a little bit further down the line and we start seeing some of these big games come out from, you know, from everyone really, from Sucker Punch or just the rafters, the rafters of studios. Man, I just want to see another Astrobot. I want to see all these different things that I'm sure are bubbling away, whatever Media Molecule are working on next. And
that's a joke.
and kind of go from there. And those are the exciting things that we don't know what's happening. But that list is hella strong as far as I'm concerned. No need to worry. Spence, are you feeling the same way?
I kind of am. I'm kind of not. It's kind of the thing of the future of PlayStation. I don't care to know yet for a lot of it. I like knowing when there's meat on the bones, because I've said in the past, once I've seen something that grips me, I never want to see it again. So I don't want to see these trailers that are kind of nothing. Kind of like everything on the other side that they're getting shown, where, oh, this game's 4 years out, here's the announcement. And sometimes it's hype if it's like from a franchise you adore. They're like, confirmed, we're doing this. We already know that like Last of Us 3 is going to happen, and Last of Us Factions, all that. That's when it's hype to get an announcement or a teaser trailer. When you don't really know what it is, I'm not excited for it until I see gameplay. So in terms of the pipeline, I don't care to really know it until there's a state of play and I see some meat. And that's when I'll be like, oh, sick. Good. Now I know what's coming. And unlike everyone else where they want to know right away, they're waiting 4 years. I wait 1 or 2 at a push.
See, Davey, Spencer doesn't like being teased. Where me and you will sit in a club and we can see big mummy PlayStation coming over with the goods, jiggling from side to side, going, Phil and Davey, look at me. And that's what they were doing at this showcase. Now, we got to see 3 unannounced PlayStation Studio titles within the showcase on the 25th of May. And that was out of 35 games. So there's gonna be some big dongers swinging at the showcase at Summer Games Fest to look forward to. Oh my God, cannot wait.
Here's hoping. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure before the showcase actually comes out, we'll end up doing some kind of episode hyping it up. Who knows?
Maybe some predictions.
Maybe some predictions.
Maybe not bother.
yeah.
Doing some more shots. Who knows?
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But oh God, the hype train just keeps on rolling. And I'll tell you what else keeps on rolling: our ratings, guys. If you want to support the show, the best way you can is to go on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you listen to your podcast, and put a rating on. It all helps us grow and find a larger audience. It really does help, and thank you for everyone that has been submitting them. It does mean an awful lot to us. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, the best way to support us on there is put a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and, of course, leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about the conference. Did it work for you? Were your expectations out of check? Or was it a case that this focus on games just weren't for you? Which is absolutely fine. Let us know. Right into the comments and put it all on there. Now, in terms of reaching out to us, there's a number of ways you can do that. You can follow us on our social medias. They will all be in the description of the podcast. But the important one to know is at In PS We Trust. And of course, if you want to take ownership of the show, write in with your questions, thoughts, concerns, whatever it is, you can write into the email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Now, guys, this has been a special episode. And as you'll know, I haven't insulted the fans on this one. I thought I'll save that for a numbered entry. I thought it'd be nice for a change on this episode, as it is a special. This has been a special episode of the PlayStation Showcase Roundup, Review Extravaganza, however we want to call this to get the best out of the analytics. I have been Davey.
I've, of course, been Phil.
And I've been Spencer.
Take care, guys.
Peace.
Oh, Christ.
Jesus.
In PS We Trust is hosted by Davey, Phil, and Spencer. You can write into the show via our email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Our Twitter is at In PS We Trust. To find each of us online, follow our Twitters, at SSJDavey, at Philip Hoy, at SpenPie_. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. See ya.